Hello guys, this is Abhishek from acpclicks, and today I am going to unbox audio gear that I recently took. It is the new VideoMic Pro Plus. So here is the box guys, the VideoMic Pro Plus. Let's see what's on the box. When you register your RØDE product, you will get a 10-year warranty. This mic has the integrated tripod layer suspension system, which reduces the handling noise of the mic. It has an inbuilt LB1 lithium-ion battery, which is rechargeable, and it has the optimized windshield shape. Here are some of the specs. You can have a look. Here is the actual picture of the mic. On the top side, you can see the LB1 battery itself and the mic. So let's do the unboxing. Let's keep the box aside. Here is the mic itself. Here is the mic. Looks pretty good. We have the LB1 rechargeable battery. Micro USB to USB cable. This is the TRS cable which goes from the mic to the camera input. This is the manual. It has Chinese, English and many other languages. You read the manual before operating the mic. And here is some silica gel. So let's see. Let's power on the device. The main improvement from the RØDE VideoMic Pro to RØDE VideoMic Pro Plus was the battery compartment. In the previous version, it used to come out and it was not good. Many photographers or videographers had lost this cable. So let us put the device in. You can only put the device from one side, that is this screw, you can see in the middle. Turn it, press it for a while, it will turn on.
True condenser and electric condenser in the video world. Small diaphragm, the condenser that we have here, it's very simple. We've got the acoustic energy, hits the diaphragm, and the diaphragm is basically a pulled tight, think of a drum skin, and the acoustic energy is hitting that and it's vibrating. There's a charge across the diaphragm and there's a charge across the backplate. As the diaphragm vibrates, the distance between the backplate and the diaphragm changes, and that causes a capacitance change in the charge, which is our audio signal coming down these pipes here. We're going to...
Yeah, inside the pencil condenser, so I actually had a gentleman just asking about the difference in these. We're going to talk a little bit more about polar pattern as well. Those guys in the music, you heard it, and then we're going to come back to that in a few videos here in just a second. But NT5, NT55, small diaphragm pencil condensers, the NT5, no frills really. You could buy an upgraded capsule, which makes it omnidirectional or cardioid. And then NT55 comes with both those capsules. You get a pad, you get a roll-off. Going to talk about that in frequency response here in a bit. Up above that is the NT6. I want you to remember this microphone. It's going to come back to us in application. It is a beautiful microphone, especially in the video side of things, because it's very underestimated, actually. It's got a module, and then it's got a cable that runs through to a very small, discrete capsule, which is wonderful for hiding in things, right? So it's very small format. I can take the mass of it, the base, and hide that, and then run the cable discreetly, getting to a very small capsule for closer microphone proximity, okay? Past that, we got the NTG3 and NTG8. So these actually have the rejection, the cancellation ports that we were talking about earlier. The longer those ports are, the more directional that microphone is. The more phasing, the more directional it becomes, right? So again, in polar patterns, we're gonna talk about it, but for right now, the NT5, 55, and 6 are gonna be a cardioid pattern. They're gonna have less rear rejection ports. Not only that, the ports are behind the capsule. And then the NTG3 and NTG8 have the ports out front causing phasing. So cardioid versus hypercardioid. The hypercardioid is going to be a lot more pinpoint. Supercardioid is a little less pinpoint, and cardioid is not. All three of which are directional microphones. More on that on polar patterns. As far as applications, NT5s and 55s, I talked about it earlier, good for echo rejection and anything behind the microphone. Put the bad noise behind you, as I like to say. Shotguns are going to let a little bit in from the back, but cancel more at the sides, okay? Polar patterns coming up. Go ahead, Will.
All right, large diaphragm condensers. So exactly, the condenser is the exact same situation here. It's just larger. By large, it normally means 1 inch, whereas small means half an inch. Do you want to run across these?
Just briefly, I just want to let you know that, again, these large diaphragms, like we talked about earlier, have more height. They're a bigger image. They have a lot more energy. They also have a lot more consistency across the low frequencies, because think of it as a drum head again. If it's larger, it is better receiving of low frequencies. That's why in a drum, say a kick drum, has more low frequency than a high tom, right? So absolutely there. In NTK K2, they're going to add that tube, valve tube inside it, which just adds harmonic distortion and otherwise. And then the broadcaster, another one that's very well designed for the human voice, whether it's podcasting, radio, or if you're doing VO and you want a little bit of control over a really present microphone, broadcaster adds a lot of hype to that. Cool?
All right. And then we have the Electret condenser. So this is very similar to a normal condenser. We have the diaphragm pulled tight across the ring. We have the acoustic energy that hits it. When the diaphragm vibrates, the distance between it and the backplate changes, and there's a capacitance change. The difference with this is there's an electret substance or material on the backplate. An electret material is basically, it holds a very, 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 very tiny charge. And that is why electret condensers don't require external power. They've just got that material there. And that in turn sends the signal, the audio signal down the wire. This is, Ryan's going to really bleed on this slide about all the different microphones down here. People that were asking me questions about what's the best kind of starter microphone for amateurs and weekend warriors and all that, listen carefully, because this is really where it happens.
It's about 90% of my job in the United States right here. Again, I'm usually teaching end users that are looking to buy that microphone, or the guy who's about to sell that microphone. And what I like to call as the stair step that is Rode products, I can go from low price to a higher price. Inside of that, I go from low feature to a higher feature, and I typically also go from a lower quality, right, to a higher quality, okay? So that's the stair step. You're going from from bottom to top, and in the case of the Rode line, so again, all these are Electret condensers, especially in the VideoMic line. We have a few true condensers, and then we also have these Electret versions of those as well. You typically get more affordability, but don't be discouraged by the fact that it's an Electret. It actually is a very, very good place to start with all of these microphones. Cool? VideoMic Me and the Video Micro, two very similar microphones. In fact, the capsule and otherwise are the exact same. Not only that, they are a cardioid pattern, so they reject from behind the microphone, small format microphone. They're only about that big. They go right on the shoe mount, or in the case of the VideoMic Me, it has a 4-pin TRRS analog connector, which plugs into what? A phone, absolutely. Before you ask it, Android, and we won't get into that conversation again, right? Yeah, but sometimes Android, it just doesn't work either because of a pin set, or I found a lot of Android cameras are actually right next to the audio jack. If I place this microphone out over the top of a camera, do I have a microphone in a camera shot? Yes, I do. So that's not necessarily a form factor. Unfortunately, we can't appease every single manufacturer of every single camera I'm sorry, phone or otherwise. So we made this analog format, and things like the iPhone 7 now, or maybe some of those Androids, you're going to have problems with it, all right? Research your manufacturer of your phone, the app you're using, and also the VideoMic Me is an excellent solution on a budget. And if it works for your phone, it's an excellent upgrade, okay? Past that, you got the Video Micro. It's a 3-pin TRS connector. And then past that, you got the VideoMic Go. This is where you start getting into a shotgun microphone. If you don't know, shotguns are hyper or super cardioid microphones, and they are nicknamed shotguns based off the gun, right? When a shotgun shoots, it has a spray that's more like this. That's where it gets its nickname. It's still a hypercardioid or a supercardioid. Those are synonyms, right? So shotgun microphone can mean these microphones that are on top of a camera or in this particular form factor, or it can mean a shotgun like this. These all have rear rejection ports or cancellation ports. These have cancellation ports as well. This one has a rear rejection port causing cancellation behind it. More on that in polar patterns. But what you start getting into as far as problems, remember I said that on a budget, you're gonna have to have some problems that you're gonna overcome, right? These microphones do not have onboard power. They do require power from your external source. They require 2.4 up to 5 volts of plug-in power from your device. If you have a camera or DSLR or otherwise, you have to make sure that you check with your manufacturer that it actually has the plug-in power. Again, this is all a stair step. If you run into a problem, you already had a camera for the last 5 years and you find out there's an audio jack in it, now you're trying to get into video. We do have a solution for you. Right between here, one that's just not, we didn't have room for, is the VideoMic Regular, as I like to call it. It's just the VideoMic. It's the very first VideoMic that was ever created by Rode. You add a 9-volt battery compartment on it. Now I no longer need 2.4 volts of power, okay? So don't be discouraged if you don't have it. If I don't even have an audio jack, but I have a DSLR, what's your solution? External recorder, right? So I could still go into a VideoMic, but I'd have to go into an external recorder at that point. So figuring out what your recorders have, what they don't have, and otherwise, right? So no power, guys. This needs 2.4 volts of power from your recorder, okay? If you don't have that, you need to step up into the VideoMic Regular, which adds a pad, a roll-off, and the 9-volt battery, okay? We're gonna get into features in just a second to go over each of those. Stepping up past that, you got the VideoMic Pro Rycote, and then the VideoMic Pro Plus. The VideoMic Pro adds a preamp. Again, we're gonna talk about this in the features. Preamp is just like going to your TV remote and turning it up by X amount of decibels, and it gets louder, right? Is the camera recorder noisy or good quality? Is it noisy or low noise? It's noisy, right? Noisy. As the audio company, we actually have the ability to make that preamp low noise. The whole goal here is to minimize the noise being introduced by your recorder. So I'm actually gonna take that preamp, boost it up 20 decibels, and then I'm gonna go to my camera and reduce it by such, okay? If I can bring my camera all the way down to 1, or whatever the last signal input is, I minimize all that noise inside of that recorder and let the microphone do the work for me, okay? What happens if I'm all the way down on the camera, still inputting audio, and I'm clipping with plus 20. Boom, knock it back down to 0. Now you have your level at 0 and you're good. Then you fine tune with the camera just to minimize the camera's input as much as you possibly can. Cool? The battery life was the question. Depends on what you're which one you're talking about. For the VideoMic Pro, was it 10 hours of play, I think, on a AA battery? 9-volt battery. 7 to 10. It all depends as far as like the usage, the battery quality itself, and so forth. But let's just say plenty of time. Best part, you're not degrading the onboard either. If you're using these lower formats, don't worry. The voltage draw from that is not so much that you're actually going to pull so much from your camera that you're always changing your batteries, right? But again, most people have extra batteries for the camera, have the extra batteries for your microphones, and/or be sure you do have those backup batteries so that if your microphone is draining too much or if you're just on a long shoot, you have a safety net, okay? So VideoMic Pro Plus, an excellent upgrade into this line. I can't talk about this enough. It's on this camera right here if anybody wants to check it maybe a little bit later. It's an excellent microphone. We added some new features to it. The first and foremost is digital switching, okay? So the old format was a toggle switch. You just went to the switch and boom, knocked it over. With the digital switching, you can actually program this now. So you have the ability to add added features. So the previous microphone had a preamp, pad, roll-off, okay? With the new one, you have preamp, pad, roll-off. You also have a roll-off that is 2 stages. You have double hertz, the roll-off at 150, roll-off at, I believe, 75 or 80. And then past that, if I push 2 digital buttons simultaneously, I now integrate 2 new circuits, okay? Before with the toggle switch, you'd have to add another switch or you'd have to add another position on that switch. Now with digital switching, I can push 2 buttons that are doing a different job and make it do a third job or a second job, okay? So the other features that we added is a high pass boost or high frequency boost. So it goes to the high frequencies and pulls them up. Makes it more clear, more present, and so forth. Bit on that in our frequency response chart. And then we added my favorite feature by far, the safety channel. Remember I mentioned earlier that you actually have a TRS connector, positive ground, on a mono microphone such as these. That second pin is fairly unused, right? So if I'm unusing that, Rode was smart enough to actually go, well, wait, let's use it for something useful. So what they integrated is the safety channel. So the first pin is your lead. So pin 1, positive, is your lead input. If I boost the preamp by 20 or otherwise, boom, I'm at plus 20. The second pin is padded by 10 decibels. More on this in a bit, but it's padded by 10 decibels. So my secondary pin in post, if I clip my main track, I can go grab the secondary track and replace the bad audio. It's very, very cool. I'm gonna get to that in just a second as well. But safety track is added. The other thing is it's got a battery on board. It's a rechargeable lithium battery now. 10 hours of play on that minimum. With the LB1, stands for lithium battery 1. It's a rechargeable lithium battery. You can also pull it out if you lose charge and replace it with AA batteries. So you got multiple functionality. And if you've ever owned a VideoMic Pro, you know that the old door on that battery compartment was a little clunky. There was a technique to it. There was an art. But we replaced that with a hinged lever now. So it actually just, with one hand, I can close and open that door. So we fixed that as well. So a bunch of upgrades into this new one. We were not using 2.4 volts, right? That plug-in power still exists at the camera. So we added one more function in this microphone with the digital switching that we call the automatic power function. And what that means is that I'm using a 9-volt the LB1 battery. So the 2.4 volts is still going to that input. If the microphone recognizes that power, it will turn on. If it does not recognize power, meaning you unplugged it or otherwise, it will turn off. So the old problem with toggle switches was that you would turn it on and forget to turn it off, dead battery. Or you forget to turn it on, done it before, and now you have no audio, not even bad audio, right? So you plug it all in properly, forget to turn it on to try and save your batteries, and you don't have audio, right? Or you have to reshoot or something like that. So this is all trying to minimize problems that we've had from our customers in one microphone. It's an excellent, excellent solution inside that. Cool? Everybody good with the video mic line? Yep. Moving on and forward, you got the NTG 1 and 4. This is the older model, this is the newer model. The 4 and the 1 don't have a battery. There are many applications where people have plenty of phantom power. They don't need to use the battery on board, or they need discretion. So there's a solution there. If you step up to the 2 or the 4 Plus, you actually integrate a battery into the microphone itself. They do run on phantom power still, and I highly recommend phantom power first, and secondary is the battery as a backup, okay? If you're running and gunning and you don't have power from your camera, that battery will work just fine. Cool thing in the NTG4 Plus is it's a USB rechargeable lithium battery inside of it. 2 hours of charge gets you 10 hours of play, 150 hours of play. It's a ridiculous number of hours played. 2 hours of charge, 150 hours of play. Cool? Very, very good stuff. Digital switching on the NTG4 series versus the old analog toggle switch. And then last but not least, our M5s. Very affordable, very discreet, come as a matched pair for, again, having a pencil condenser solution and cardioid versus a shotgun microphone, okay? Everybody good?